Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites. My name is Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Tonight, we are doing a bit of a themed stream. If you saw the thumbnail, we are talking about winners and losers, or in terms of football, touchdowns and fumbles. And I say that as someone that's only watched football ever during the Super Bowl because I actually do not understand it. Not that I don't understand it, I don't follow it. So hopefully a touchdown and fumble are both football terms, because if not, I am totally off the mark here. But I do want to have a great conversation today about the distilleries that are knocking it out of the park or out of the ball field. That's definitely not a football term. And the others that just might have missed the mark just a little bit. So we have two whiskeys we're reviewing here today. There's a couple of extra things I might pull out every now and then just to mix things up. We are doing a football themed stream after all, so I thought about doing a bit of a what is a good party drink for a Super Bowl party. So I might pull out a couple random shots of different things, but we'll see how the night goes. But more importantly, I want to say hello to all of the amazing people joining live and those that may be joining the after party. Those of you that don't know, we have an after party after every live stream here on Thursday nights. That's available to everyone on Patreon. That's $10 supporter and up. We also have our monthly movie night. Just don't want you guys to forget, we do a 80s movie night every month. This month's theme is rom-coms because we're watching it before Thanksgiving. Why do I always say I have always mixed up Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving. It doesn't make any sense. My sound is off. Uh-oh. Am I using the wrong microphone? Let's see. No, it should be fine. Sorry, let me know if there's any further issues, but yeah. But anyways, we are doing a screening of what is the movie called? Shoot, it's something I've never seen before. It's like a classic 80s rom-com. You guys picked it on Patreon. We did a poll. And tomorrow night we are watching When Harry Met Sally. Never seen it. I've heard references to it my whole life, but we're gonna watch a watch party for it tomorrow night. So if you are around, that's everyone $5 and up on Patreon. If you guys want to join us, if you want to do a free trial of Patreon, hey, now's a great time to do it. You can join us tonight for the after party. You can join us for the movie night and see if it's worth the price of admission. Get it? Movie reference. Anyways, want to say hello to some folks here live. And if you're watching the replay, hey, leave a comment below your thoughts of tonight's stream, who you're rooting for. Not on foot. I mean, maybe sports ball, who you're rooting for, but also with these whiskeys. And just leave a thumbs up because it does help out the channel. Emily's here. Mash it early, mash often. And then Donnie calling me out saying, looks like a late start tonight. 5 minutes to go. Okay, way to go, Donnie. You know, I called you rude, which is true, but you weren't wrong. So, you got me there. What's up, Taste and Sensibility? Good to see you. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you at New Orleans Bourbon Festival. Hopefully, I assume you'll be there. Tony back in Donuts. What's up, Tony? Good to see you. Tater Dom is back as well. Tony on his other account. Good to see you. Getting that extra thumbs up in, I see. Appreciate it. Thank you, Donnie, for dropping the Patreon info. Yes, that's great info. I actually have a little banner that I was going to put up right here. Oh, I did the wrong banner. Shoot. Let me see if I can change that. There we go. We'll put that up. Leave it up there for a minute, just people that are tuning in a little bit late. Joseph Brazo, speaking of late, what the hell are you doing here? Good to see you, Joseph. Yeah, so let's talk whiskey. Let's get into the two that we're going to be reviewing tonight. Again, I'm not putting them head to head, so don't think of this as a like this versus that. Think of it as a which one is a touchdown for the brand and which one is a fumble. So we have, of course, two newly released whiskeys. I was going to say bourbons. They're not both bourbons. Both of them are a little bit controversial. So we got some controversy, but you know what? We can get to the bottom of it. We can see who is actually fumbling and who's actually has a pretty good touchdown right here. So Matthew Parks in the house. What's up, Matthew? Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. All right, so let's start with the elephant in the room. Not me. Let's start with the newest release from Buffalo Trace. Traveler Whiskey, blend number 40. This is a blended whiskey from Kentucky. It is 90 proof. It is a collaboration between Master Distiller from Buffalo Trace, Harlen Wheatley. I almost said Harley Wheaton. Harlan Wheatley, and of course, country music legend Chris Stapleton. So they collaborated. Now, the interesting thing is, this is a Buffalo Trace product, but it is a blended whiskey, meaning it's not a bourbon. We do not know an age statement on this one. We don't know if it's all. I don't know if it's all American whiskey. There could be some Canadian in there. I don't know the details of this one. I don't think they've actually released that. But I'm excited to get into this, give a honest review. Like I said, I have tried a little bit of it, but I've never reviewed it for the channel. So let's go ahead and open up the Traveler whiskey from Buffalo Trace. So like I said, not much info on this other than 90 proof and that it's a blended whiskey. We do know that it was blended and bottled by Buffalo Trace. Again, doesn't mean that it's all sourced from Buffalo Trace. It could be whiskey from anywhere, really. It doesn't even say American whiskey, which leads me to believe there's probably some Canadian in here. Sorry, so Joseph never pegged you for a football guy, or never pegged me in general. Well, I'm very thankful for that, Joseph. Donnie says, love Chris Stapleton's music, not sure about the whiskey. I've been a fan since the Steel Driver days. I actually cannot tell you a Chris Stapleton song. I grew up in South Carolina. I probably heard a lot of his music, but not really familiar with it. It's not really my jam, but, you know, gotta credit the guy. He gets his name out there. Partnering with Buffalo Trace is pretty incredible. So let's see. Now the controversy is, right, let's again, I keep making the elephant in the room pun, but let's talk about this whiskey. When this was first released, people went nuts. People literally flipped this bottle for 4 times the price or more on secondary. I think retail on this is only like $39. I think I paid 40 for it. Let me know. Yeah, $39.99. That's SRP on it. That's what I paid for it. People were buying this and literally by the case and trying to flip it for $300, $400. And at first people were buying it because, you know, Buffalo Trace. People said, "Oh, there's 2 L's in it. It must be Weller." So there was definitely a craze around it to start with, but then people actually tried it, and then I'll just say it didn't live up to their expectations of what they thought a Buffalo Trace whiskey would be. Now, let me remind you, Buffalo Trace technically also distills the whiskey that is in Fireball. Sorry, I should say distill. Technically bottles and blends the whiskey that is in Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. They also, funny enough, I was looking at this new product that I picked up specifically for this stream before I knew I was going to do this thing. And I figured, like, what is going to be the college bro drink of the year for the Super Bowl? Well, we know one thing, that all college-age bros like them some Twisted Tea. So we got us the Twisted Tea Sweet Tea Whiskey. So it's crafted with real whiskey, okay? And it's coming in at 65 proof. We'll see if we get to this tonight. Okay, this is after we do all the reviews. But I was actually looking at the bottle when I was comparing it. It actually also is. Let's see, focus. Actually, I don't know where it says this. I probably should be. There we go. Produced by Twisted Tea in Frankfort, Kentucky. Meaning, most likely, this is from Buffalo Trace, just like how they blended this. So, you know, maybe people are going crazy for Twisted Tea whiskey. Maybe that's the new trend. We'll see. But yeah, let's save that for later. That might be Cliffy when Cliffy wants to make an appearance tonight. But we're going to start with the Traveler whiskey to not go too crazy. Okay, on the nose, I'm not getting my typical bourbon note. If it is a bourbon note, it's a very young, unrefined bourbon. It kind of does remind me of the nose of like some of the lower end bourbons, like the Old Crows or the I mean, what are some other ones like Early Times? It kind of gives me some of that like younger, cheaper bourbon notes, but there's definitely a ton of sweetness there that I think might be coming from some other whiskey that's not bourbon. It's not super off profile from other American whiskeys I've had. I just think there's a bit of sweetness there that could be coming from some Canadian whiskey, maybe some corn whiskey, which could also be Canadian as well. I don't really know. Based on the nose, it's fine. It smells like, you know, if you want to tell someone, what does a whiskey smell, an American whiskey smell like? You gave them this, it'd probably be pretty accurate. It's definitely not like an over oaky bourbon or anything at all. It's very, very sweet, very, very light. But let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Unfortunately, I pick up some notes that I've only gotten on some of the cheapest budget whiskey I've ever bought. There's a note that I get on some of those. Not to point fingers, but there's one that I reviewed a long time ago when I did a stream with our friend Ed, who at the time was running Rock Gut Reviews. We reviewed a whiskey called Four Freedoms American Whiskey, and it was like 80% neutral grain spirit, 20% American whiskey, maybe a bourbon. I don't know. It was literally $6 by the handle or something like that at the grocery store. It had this weird bubblegum note to it, like a very sweet, like pink, like hubba bubba bubblegum note. Not saying that this is that extreme, but it does kind of have that bubblegum note, which is such a weird one for a whiskey to have. It's very like powdered sugar. I mean, listen, I'll give them this. If you're trying to get someone into whiskey that's never had whiskey before, this is approachable. It's 90 proof. It's a little bit higher than 80 proof. It's not necessarily bad. I mean, there's some oak on the back end that kind of rounds it out a little bit. You can definitely tell that you're drinking a whiskey, but it does kind of leave you wondering like what went into this. Now they say this is blend number 40. They tried 40 different blends and ended up with this one. So apparently there's some artistry that went into it, talking about the master distiller there, and then of course Chris Stapleton. I don't know how much of a whiskey drinker he is, but country music and whiskey have always kind of had a thing for each other. Yeah. Hmm. I'm trying to see. It's really hard to consider this a touchdown or a fumble, right? Because if it's Buffalo Trace, it's going to sell. Like you can't necessarily say a Buffalo Trace product is a fumble in general because you obviously saw people buying this by the case. Now it's probably just sitting on shelves. I honestly didn't see it. I just went to Total Wine earlier today. I didn't see it, but I have a feeling it's going to sit on shelves after this first batch. Um, I just want to get caught up in the chat. Gandy Road in the house. Good to see you. People saying Everclear. Oh, it's not as bad as Everclear, but I mean that's technically what neutral grain spirit is, right? It's that mixed with like some whiskey, so they can technically call it a whiskey, but it's a blended whiskey. They should call the Traveler the travesty. So okay, let's be real here. Is this overpriced for what it is, being a celebrity whiskey? We see a lot of these, right? Yeah, I think it's overpriced. I think $40, like even though you have a celebrity name tied to it, it has a I don't know. It's just with it being distinctly Buffalo Trace branded, there's a certain level of quality that you expect from Buffalo Trace. Kind of what this reminds me of, it feels like a missed branding opportunity because, like, it reminds me of how Knob Creek released that maple. Well, you remember the maple Knob Creek, which is a flavored whiskey? And it, like, people are, this is so sweet. This is not like a Knob Creek. That felt like a branding mishap, right? Like, why would you put the Knob Creek name on uh, a flavored whiskey? Like, right? Shouldn't that be Jim Beam? Shouldn't that be, one of those more traditional flavored whiskey brands? So I think this is kind of in the territory of Knob Creek Maple. You're putting a premium, you're putting Buffalo Trace on the bottle. I mean, it's not hidden. It's definitely not on the front label or anything, but it does immediately say first of its kind collaboration from Buffalo Trace Distillery. So it's not like they're just using Buffalo Trace juice. They're branding it as Buffalo Trace, probably blended and bottled by Buffalo Trace. So I do feel like if this had been another no-name Frankfort, Kentucky release like this Twisted Tea, then there would not be hype around it. But I also don't think there'd be $40. Celebrity whiskey is one of those weird territories where it's like there's like royalties involved and stuff, and things are going to cost a bit more. But when you're dealing with a non-age stated, no source information other than it's blended whiskey, you really don't know much about this. Yeah, Chris Stapleton had a hand in blending it, but $40. I don't think so. So I really do feel like this is a fumble on Buffalo Trace's part. Again, people are going to buy it, but I think people went into this thinking it was going to be I'm even looking at the press release here, and they talk about E.H. Taylor, and they talk about apparently, by the way, it says E.H. Taylor was actually a staple in Chris Stapleton's home bar. So that they are Buffalo Trace fans. To put stuff like that and then immediately go into like Buffalo Trace is home to legends like E.H. Taylor, Stagg Jr., Blanton's. Like it doesn't quite feel it doesn't feel on brand for them. I gotta say, this is a fumble, but it's not a bad whiskey. I just think it's twice as much as it should be. If this were 20, I'd have completely different things to say about it. If it was a $20 not a bourbon, $20 whiskey, I would maybe be more like, forgiving. But 40, give me a break. Matthew Park says, is it as smooth as Tennessee whiskey? It's smooth, but not necessarily in a good way. Taste Sensibility says, I don't think travelers aimed at our demographic. That's a great point. It's not, I don't want to say a cash grab. It's a marketing collaboration. Like all collaborations like this are pretty much marketing. But, Buffalo Trace has a certain standard to it, I think, that people expect from Buffalo Trace. Even standard, trust me, on the shelf Buffalo Trace for the price, like $26, is a great bourbon for the price. Now, the prices people pay for it, that's a whole different story. That's a whole different conversation. But I don't know. Just wasn't really, it's something that winning for me. Also, Bill the Whiskey Dick is here. There are so few celebrity whiskeys that worked out well. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Also, he called out my amazing shirt. Yes, this is a shirt in reference to, if you didn't know, I participate in a Whiskey Tube Dungeons and Dragons campaign called Dungeons and Drams. This is our shirt. We do a risky whiskey where you can get a pour of whiskey to save yourself from a bad roll. If you guys are curious about that, check it out, Dungeons and Drams on YouTube. We go live on Monday nights. We're taking a bit of a break while Bill gets some computer issues sorted. By the way, Bill's our dungeon master. Jason from the Mash and Drum, Adriana Whiskey Mountains, Ed from the Rock Gut Review, and myself are the players. So it's a ton of fun. So yeah, make sure to tune in next time we are live. Bill says, no way is Buffalo Trace releasing anything for $20 with a name on it. I think 30 would have been more of a doable thing, but bad whiskey is still bad. 30, pushing it. Also, thank you, Bill, for dropping the link. Yeah, Buffalo Trace, the bottle itself goes for around 20 to 25 around here. Donald Rance is in the house. I'm just popping in from work to say cheers and hit the like button. Oh, thank you so much, Donald. Thanks for stopping in. I am our Chaos Goblin. Listen, when Cliffy gets a hold of Nobilis, things get a little crazy. Nobilis is my character. Tony knows what's up. Gandhi Road says, people will buy the first bottle, but not go back for a second. Buffalo Trace puts out so many more offerings that are better than the Traveler, Benchmark Single Barrel, Top Floor, and regular Buffalo Trace. Great points. Great bottles at great prices. Agreed. Yeah, so I consider this a fumble. Not that it's a bad whiskey, it just isn't worth the price point to me. Like you said, people will buy a first bottle to try it out, or for the name. They're probably not going to pick up a second one. So that being said, we got one more official whiskey to review here. Now, of course, I might dabble into some other fun stuff. But we have to figure out if the newest release from Elijah Craig, Barrel Proof A124, I don't know why I said it like that. We got to find out if Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A124 stands up to the reputation of this well-beloved brand. I mean, literally, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is my go-to favorite whiskey. Anyone that asks me my favorite whiskey, I always say Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So let's see how this newest batch stands up to some of my other favorite batches. The controversy with this one, by the way, I mentioned at the top of the stream, there is some controversy around a lot of these bottles. This one, last year they started putting age statements on the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof releases, and they are either under or over 12 years old. It used to be standard 12 years old. Well, now this one's pretty significantly under. This one's 10 years and 9 months old. It also comes in at 119 proof. So not only is it pretty young for an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, it is only 119 proof. So people are wondering, you're like, hey, are they skimping out? Are they coming in younger, coming in lower proof? Like what gives, Heaven Hill? Well, let's find out. Again, this is a release that comes out 3 times a year. Last year, I did a blind flight comparing all 3 of my favorite batches. I'm not going to spoil it. Check out that live stream replay if you want to see a blind, honest reaction to my favorite ECBP of 2023. But this is the first one for 2024. And people are just a little nervous with this being a little bit lower age statement. Now, there are some single barrel store picks of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof that do come in younger. Some of them have been fantastic. I've had some wonderful 9-year-olds, some great 10-year-olds. But with the batch version, this is talking about the youngest whiskey in here. The youngest whiskey is 10 years, 9 months. So we don't know. Maybe there's some older whiskey in there as well. We don't have that information, but we do know what they give us on the bottle. We do know that the price of this comes in at $75 a bottle SRP. I think that's about what I see it for out here when I can find it on the shelves. It's around 75, 80 maybe. But let's see. Is this a fumble or a touchdown? Bill says, what is my super well-informed pick for the Super Bowl, the 49ers or the Chiefs? Well, if you can't tell, I Googled the colors of the football teams literally 5 minutes before the stream to turn my lights red and white, and there's some gold here. So honestly, both. I don't care. I mean, even when the Panthers were there, which was my home team from growing up, I was never really a Panthers fan. I went to a few Panthers games as a kid, but I don't know. So to me, I don't really care. I'm in it for the commercials. I'm in it for the really cool advertising things. But that's that's my take there. I mean, I'm in California, so maybe the 49ers, sure. But really, I could care less. I do love that the Super Bowl brings together communities and friends and, tailgating and all that. That's all fun and games, but not a big fan of the sports part of it. That's just me. I don't even know who's performing at halftime. Normally I look forward to that, but now I'm like, I don't really know. So the last few years have been kind of meh. I did the one where they did all the 90s classics, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling the Super Bowl. Even though I'm doing a Super Bowl thing, I'm totally maximizing on the fact that this is Super Bowl week. So totally, but at the same time. By the way, I'm going to be in Las Vegas, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. So if anyone happens to be in the Vegas area, let me know. Would love to meet up, maybe for a pour or some gambling. Let me know. But just want to throw that out there. What's up, Pat? Bourbon New Pierre, he said we're having a super stout Sunday at the friend's house. Oh, that's fun. Oh, it's Usher. Okay, I do. You know what? I like some Usher songs. Not really looking forward to it, but I'll definitely watch it. There have been way worse. That's all I gotta say. All right, let's enough football. Let's talk about whiskey. So let's go to nose this A124. Okay, it's giving the typical really hot note that I don't want to say that. Okay, hold on. Let me let this breathe for a minute. I feel like this is a new bottle. I feel like I need to give it some air a minute. Let me give it a second. Did not like that first nose, but I don't think that has to do anything to do with the whiskey. I think that's just because I just poured it and I just immediately jumped into it. So let me do some little opening up here. Again, 119 proof, not low by any means, but low on Elijah Craig Barrel Proof scale. Let's go ahead and give that a second try now that I've kind of, give it some air. Okay, still is pretty hot. It's funny. I usually get that heat on the C batches. I didn't know if that was a constant theme or anything, but this one's giving that really hot ethanol forward nose. Again, it's not really a fresh crack. I did open this probably a week ago and had a couple pours out of it, but yeah, that's really hot on the nose. I'm not getting the oak that I typically love with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof either. To me, it does have the sweeter notes, the things that I like, which are those bakery notes, which I repeat every time I review Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. But I'm sorry, that's a Heaven Hill flavor profile for me. If I can smell a pastry or a freshly baked dough, immediately that gives me a hint that it might be Heaven Hill. So that's there. But on the nose, I'm missing the oak, which being young, it's oof, okay. But maybe it'll come through more on the palate. Let's give it a shot. Cheers. Mm. Gets you with the proof. I mean, I just jumped from 90 to 120, so that's a big jump. Flavor-wise, it's very sweet. It's very much what I do like about Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Okay, my heart rate's going down a little bit because I was not loving that nose. The nose felt really off-profile to me. Palate, it's a lot more familiar to me. It still leans into the sweeter notes versus the darker, richer, oaky notes. I love them both, but to me, I feel like This is definitely leaning towards that sweeter flavor profile. Nothing wrong with that, but I think that's a sign of it being a bit younger than our other releases we've had in the past. You know, even though it's been 12-year minimum age statement in years past, there's some older whiskey that's put in here. Now, there could be older whiskey here. We don't know the details. We just know the youngest is the 10-year, 9-month. I do think it does taste a little less rich and oaky than I normally look for with an Elijah Craig barrel proof. But I can't say too much because this is just trying it on its own. I'm not comparing it to anything else. If y'all know what I do on the channel for the past several years, once I have all three batches from 2024, I do a blind. Then I give an unbiased opinion of all three of them. So stick around, hit subscribe if you're curious about seeing that. It's going to come obviously later in the year. First impressions, I think it's okay. I'm not loving it, but I still have a whole bottle. I'm going to see if I can maybe enjoy it a bit more. I think it's a good whiskey. Now again, backtracking all that being said, at retail $75 for a 10-year-old barrel proof whiskey from Heaven Hill, absolutely recommend it. I think it is, to me, again, favorite category of bourbon, the quintessential bourbon, great price, great, consistent flavor. Yes, there's some variation. So all of the negative notes I had just given are related to other batches because I am a fanboy of Elijah Craig barrel proof. If you were just looking for your first one, or you just happen to enjoy it and not be as obsessed with like the nuances as me, definitely pick this up. I think in the scheme of things, it's a touchdown. In the world of Elijah Craig barrel proof, if I had every batch in front of me for the past 10 years or whatever, would this be a touchdown or a fumble? I'm leaning towards fumble, but at the same time, I'm like, let me give it a shot. Let me do it blind. I don't want to quite put it in that category yet. So, do I feel like it's definitely like a absolute winner? No, but we'll see. What's okay? Going back to my lack of knowledge for football, what is like good at football but not a touchdown? What is it, like a field goal or something? Is that also good? This is like a field goal, but maybe not a touchdown. Y'all, I don't watch football. I'm sorry. I was actually gonna wear. I was gonna look for like a sports jersey to wear, but I'm like, I'm not gonna pretend like I know what I'm talking about. I don't actually own anything. The only like sports memorabilia I own are like my college's basketball team. I have like a shirt for that, and then I have my high school sports team. I was not on either team, but I had the clothes. I had the clothes to support the teams. But yeah, it's good. It just, to me, it's not quite as exciting as a batch of last year, is all I'll say. So let me know if you guys have had this batch already. I know it's pretty early, it just came out. But if you try it, come back, leave a comment below, let me know your thoughts. Again, it's really sweet. It's not bad by any means. I'm curious to see how it'll compare to the other batches this year. So we got one fumble, one like almost touchdown, maybe more of a field goal. Again, no one corrected me, so I guess that's the proper term. But we still have some time to fill. So what to do? What to do? You know that bottle I teased earlier that I may have picked up for this stream? Shall I? I don't know. Let's see. I actually thought about doing a super chat goal for this one, but it seems like one of those nights where it's just chill, hang out, maybe not. So we'll just go for it. By the way, if you guys do want to support the channel, smooth segue there. If you do want to support the channel, obviously Patreon is where I recommend the most. But if you want to just give it a tip, you're enjoying the show, there's a little super chat button down there. Every little bit does help the channel. I actually have a really cool piece of furniture that is coming into my new whiskey room, if you guys haven't seen it, that's arriving probably tomorrow, and that's entirely thanks to Patreon. So don't want to spoil it, but patrons have seen a preview. I'm very, very excited for it. I can't wait for you guys to see it, but that's because you guys made it happen. It was a very expensive purchase, but that's what Patreon is for. That's what super chats are for. That's what YouTube members are for. That's just honestly what you guys are for, to buy me shit. Just kidding. But I'm just letting you know that like your funds go to a good cause. That good cause being me. Wow. That sounds so conceited. That's awful. Wow. Horrible person. Just kidding. All right. Enough delaying. Let's get into this twisted sweet sea whiskey. Oh my gosh. Get some ice for that. I don't have a can of twisted tea. That would have been smart. I have melted ice. That's not good. I'll do it neat. I'll do it neat. Let's try it neat first. Donnie says A124 may not show up till March there. Yeah, that's the norm. They do take a minute to come out. Gandhi says, I think this one will probably be more available than they normally are due to the age statement alone. Great value. Yeah, oh yeah, totally. And that's kind of the point I was making, right? It's not like it's a bad buy. For $75 for a 10-year-old cask strength whiskey, it's a good one. But still. Oh, Fred says, oh no, that looks to have so much coloring in it. Oh, well. It's made with real whiskey, Fred. And also it has real brewed tea in it. So let's give them credit. It contains naturally occurring caffeine, so there's definitely real tea in it. I have no idea about coloring, but I'll show you all the color on this one. So the color of the Twisted Tea Sweet Tea Whiskey. It is very sweet tea. And just so you guys know, I'm not new to sweet tea whiskey. There's actually a brand in South Carolina called Firefly. I live right near their distillery. They were known for their sweet tea vodka. They made a sweet tea whiskey. I actually preferred the sweet tea vodka over the whiskey, believe it or not. But this is my first time having a Twisted Tea sweet tea whiskey. Now, don't get me wrong. I was shading on the college bros for the Twisted Tea earlier in the stream. When I go to Vegas, Twisted Teas are my jam. We try to, if you don't know, in Vegas, you can have open containers as long as it's not a glass bottle. So you can walk the strip with your alcohol. So, I'm not going to carry like a bottle of whiskey, even though it's called Traveler, right? I'm not going to be like, that's trashy. But a Twisted Tea, you could pound that and no one would care. But yeah, so Twisted Teas, I get them. I like them. I like that they're not bubbly because if you're just drinking a lot of beer, like you get so bloated. And I eat so much food today. Oh god, I'm hyping myself up. I'm so excited for next week if we get to go. But yeah, so not unfamiliar to Twisted Tea, but let's give this one a nose. Oh no, I don't think I'm gonna like this. It's like, do y'all know those like candies? They might be a retro candy, but they're like soda pop bottles, and they're like a Coke flavored or like a soda flavor or like a root beer flavor, and they're like chalky. And they're like hard candies, like they're kind of like sweet tarts or Smarties. Do y'all know those? If there was a sweet tea one, this is what it would smell like. It's just like very powdery sweetness. There is some tea notes, but it's very artificial. Maybe some lemon, but it's coming across as more like a lemon pledge kind of note. But it's not awful. It does not smell like something that I would want to drink neat. Probably need some ice, like Tony said. Candy says, I'm a brave man. Hey, I don't get told that often, but I appreciate it. Jeremiah Weed. I'm not familiar with that. Still being produced. Is it a sweet tea as well? Maybe it's just over steeped in bitter tea. Maybe. Firefly was, because the Firefly was good. I like the vodka. Secretly made with Pappy's 45. Don't tell people that. The root beer barrel candies, those are delicious. Following Cliffy tonight. Oh man. All right. Let's give it a taste. So, cheers to Twisted Tea. Never said that on the channel before. Oh. Huh. Weird. With hints of lemon. Okay, that's what I was gonna say, because Twisted Tea, if I remember correctly, the regular one doesn't have that lemon. They have like a half and half one that's like lemon and tea. Maybe I'm misremembering Twisted Tea. I mean, let's be real. Does anyone remember the last time they had a Twisted Tea? No, because you got twisted. But yeah, does it always have that lemon note? I don't think so. I don't think that's like a norm. I think that's like a lemon flavor. Let me just check. Half and half, but yeah, this has that lemon note up front. Okay, maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong. Original Twisted Tea with lemon. All right. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but it does have that lemon. I wasn't expecting the lemon though. It kind of threw me off. Stover said no actual tea leaves were injured in the making of this product. No, it does. It does say made with real brewed tea. So there definitely is some real tea here. Whiskey was harmed in the making of Traveler. Arnold Palmer. So not so much. Like that would be what I would say if it's like 50-50. This is like 80% sweet tea flavor. Again, flavor, not real. And like 10-15% tea. I know the math doesn't math, but Listen, you put me in a hotel room in Las Vegas. You tell me I got 5 minutes to pregame before we hit the strip. I'm gonna I'm gonna crush this. I'm gonna crush this with some ice. I think if I had lemonade, it would make it so much better. It does have a hint of lemon, but it's very, very light. Give me some ice, give me some lemonade. Do half and half with the twisted tea, whiskey, and the lemonade. I think I'd be set. I'd be rolling. You know what? I might grab an extra bottle of this to bring to Vegas. That's it's not bad. It's completely unlike any whiskey that you guys would ever want to drink. I was gonna see how much I paid for it. I literally just picked it up today, so I forget. Okay, this has it for 15. That's it. Yeah, 15. How much did I pay for it? Did I pay only $15? Okay, $15. Wow, $15 for 750. It's a mixer. Mix it with some lemonade. Maybe mix it with some real tea. Put it over ice. You know, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun night. But people drink twisted tea. I thought it was solely used as a weapon. You know what's funny? Okay, not to be a hipster, but I was drinking twisted tea before it went viral. But their sales skyrocketed after those. I think maybe people just didn't know about them or they had forgotten about them. But after those viral videos of people throwing twisted teas at people, they were hard to find. There's bars I go to that have twisted tea on tap, and that was definitely not a thing before those videos. I don't know what happened. You know what? I don't. Kudos to Twisted Tea to like, not that they like maximize it. Like, could you imagine their ad and it's just like being violent with Twisted Tea? No, but they're doing well. So now they released a whiskey, so I cannot complain. At least it's selling for $15 versus Traveler at 40. I mean, let's be real. Which one would I rather drink for the price? Twisted Tea all day. Like legit, I would rather drink this than Traveler when it comes to price. Now, if you just give me a pour of each for the same price, I would obviously prefer the Traveler. But if I'm paying 15 versus 40, I think I have to go with the Twisted Tea Sweet Tea Whiskey. Wow, we still have a lot of time. I've been wrapping up my streams early. Okay, question for y'all. Do y'all prefer I wrap up the streams early when I'm done with my topic like I probably should have done 10 minutes ago? Or do you prefer me to go a little overtime? Maybe do some samples, maybe pull out some bottles that I haven't reviewed in a while? Let me know, because if y'all want me to end this shit right now, I will. We'll also head over to our after party, as we always do. But I do have one more similar crushable whiskey that I've put off for a really long time. But if y'all want to stick around, I might pull out that sample. But if not, we can just call it a night and we could just hang out. But I don't know. I just want to make sure, like, because I know you guys, you make time to tune in on Thursday nights, whether you watch it live or watch the replay. I don't want to let you down if I end the stream early and you're like, oh, I plan to be here for an hour. So I don't want to let you down. But at the same time, it's like, I don't like just streaming and not having a topic or having anything interesting to talk to. So I don't know. I don't like rambling, which I'm doing very much so right now. So let me just get that last pour. Let's get the last pour and then we'll keep it going. So let me just have the last of my Twisted Tea. William Hall, you don't know what you got yourself into. Also, hi, William. Oh, thank you for the reminder. Yes, movie night tomorrow. So for those of you that missed the thing at the beginning of the stream, we are doing our monthly movie night tomorrow night. We are watching When Harry Met Sally. Can you guys hear me? I'm trying to talk while I fill time while I look for this bottle. It's not that. We're doing When Harry Met Sally tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Everyone $5 up on Patreon gets access to our watch party. It's on Discord. If you guys are not on Discord, you don't have to be a patron. You can literally join Discord just as a viewer. It's a great community. These guys in the chat are all there. Most of you. If you're not there, click this link I'm about to send. But yeah, if you are a patron, you get access to some exclusive rooms like our monthly movie night, which is tomorrow, our after party hangout, which is right after this stream. And then if you are a Bourbon Terabyte, which is my $50 tier, which I know is up there, you get a monthly sample set where we do a live tasting, just you and me and whoever else is at that tier. We hang out, we drink those pours, and you guys tell me what you guys want for the next set of pours. So if you're at all interested in that, definitely let me know. If you have any questions, reach out. Let me drop that Discord link right here so if you guys are not yet on Discord. And if this link has expired for some reason, You can just go to bourbonbites.com and you'll find it. But there's the link to our Discord. Please join. Everyone's welcome. Seriously, it's such an awesome community of like-minded whiskey drinkers. Almost said tweakers. No, I was gonna say game because like it's gaming twist, but yeah, it's mostly whiskey drinkers. We do some gaming nights sometimes though. All right, we got one more fun whiskey. This is one that I've heard a lot about, never tried, been very curious about though. We of course talking about the BSB brown sugar bourbon. This is a bourbon whiskey with natural something. My shirt has text on it. Natural brown sugar and cinnamon flavors and caramel color. 60 proof. Have y'all had this? Have any of y'all had this? I bought this. This was like 99 cents or something at the stores. I'm like, oh, I'm curious. I don't know anything about it. So it says, are we on for Patreon movie night? Yes, tomorrow night. Sorry, I'm getting caught up in the chat. Twisted traveling tea. Adam says, I'm late to the party tonight, but I'd take the Twisted tea over the Traveler every day of the week. I thought Traveler was horrendous. Yeah, to me it had that bubblegum note that I'm not a fan of, so I'm with you there. I didn't think it was horrible, but to me, I think for the price, it's ridiculous. I've never had it. Lil, have I missed it on a day off and forgot? How could you forget me, Lil? Did you not have your bell button notifications on? By the way, if you didn't know, you can hit subscribe and there's a bell that pops up. Make sure to click all notifications. That way you get a little ringy-ding-ding when Cliffy's here. Cliffy's here. So, Jamie Foxx's brand. Really? Is he the one over brown sugar bourbon? Interesting. Didn't know that. Okay. Pat said he's had it before the rebrand. Emily says she's had it with ice cream. Oh, that sounds really good. All right, let's go ahead and try this. I think they have a 100 proof version of it too. Didn't have a mini bottle of that, just the regular 60 proofer. So let's see. Brown sugar is a note that I get on a lot of bourbons. It does say cinnamon as well. It's just like, what are they doing? Like whiskey already has those notes. Why are we adding sugar and like faking it? I mean, I think there was one of the first flavored whiskeys I ever had was called Not Your Father's Bourbon. I actually bought that probably before any bourbon because again, in college I drank all the sweet drinks. And it was the same thing. It was like vanilla. It was like made with like Madagascar vanilla and caramel, but it just was like a very, very sweet product. Why are we doing that when bourbon can be as good? Listen, if you don't like bourbon neat, that's fine. I have, drink whiskey the way you like to drink it, but buy a bottled or canned cocktail, do a old fashioned, if you want to bring out some of those sweeter notes or some orange notes, do a Manhattan. If you like those fruity notes, like, there's ways to make bourbon taste good without the flavors, but you know what? Let me stop knocking it. Let's see what this is all about. Lil says my notifications aren't working at the moment. Gotta call Apple. You better call Tim Cook and be like, hey, Bourbon Bites notifications aren't working. What the hell, Tim? Listen, if he wants to come on the stream, have a duel, have a fight. I made a video a long time ago, like dissing Apple. By the way, I'm with Apple again. Like I have an iPhone. My work computer is a Mac. Nothing against Apple now, but yeah. For a while, I was very much Team Android, but I kind of switched back to Apple once I realized like I cared more about app stability than the phone performance. Because I when I was on Android, not to start a whole I'm sorry debate. What am I doing? This is what happens on Clivier. We're talking football. We're talking debates and teams. I'm Team iPhone because I think apps work better on iPhone. Hopefully that's a slogan or something. But I feel like developers develop for iPhone first. So I can't tell you how many times I had apps that I loved crash on Android all the time. And I get it because it's like there's so many different screen sizes and formats and processors and all that. I get it. But I cared more about app stability than phone performance. So that's just my personal take on the Apple versus Samsung debate. Not to like go on a tangent, even though I just went on a tangent. But let's go and nose this brown sugar bourbon. Okay, I'm not actually opposed to the nose. Definitely has the sweet fake cinnamon nose up front though. I do get a little bit of that cinnamon sugar, although it's almost like a cookie, like those not gingerbread, ginger snap. Well, maybe not ginger snap. Molasses. Wait, okay. What are the molasses cookies? Are they gingerbread? Like a cookie with a very strong molasses note. I feel like there's another name for those type of cookies. Let me know in the chat. Until Apple says you aren't allowed to have an app. Okay, I get it, but my apps that I use are all on Apple. Igloo too, also welcome. I went from iPhone to with the 3G to Android when they had OLED and LTE, and then back to iPhone when Samsung dropped SD cards and removable batteries. I will say I do miss removable storage. I mean, that's something that Apple doesn't have. It's something that my old Samsung did have. I love being able to put in a micro SD card. I do miss that, especially with the phones recording now in 4K, 60 frames per second. Um, Storage is a major concern. So like I definitely miss doing the storage. But I know now, like with the iPhone Pros, like you can hook a hard drive to and transfer the footage directly to that. That's no problem. I'm sure Android probably has something similar too, but it's like I just feel like iPhones just I hate to be like cliche, but they just work. They work with the apps I want them to do. Yes, there are certain Android phones that have better performance, but all in all, I enjoy my experience on iPhone more than I do Android. And that's coming from someone that has tried both. I dabbled in both. I prefer apples to aliens. I don't know. What is Android? Tim Cook is busy with the Vision Pro. Oh, I do not have a Vision Pro, but I actually just recently bought a Quest 3. So if y'all are interested in maybe watching some VR gaming, hey, I do have a Twitch channel. I don't use it very often, but it's Bourbon Bites on Twitch. I bought this nifty adaptive headband, so it makes it easier for me to put on with one hand. But yeah, if you guys are interested in VR, not a Vision Pro. Sorry, I didn't have $3,500 to drop. But you know what? I wanted to get back into VR. I had the original Oculus Rift when it first came out that was hooked to the computer. But yeah, I haven't really been dabbling in VR since. I'm really excited to go back. All right. I've nosed it. Do we have Vision Pro at home? Okay. Didn't say it was comparable, but I mean, for the price, cannot complain. All right, let's try brown sugar bourbon. I'm scared, but also let's do it. I've had worse, probably. Cheers. It's the problem I have with so many flavored whiskeys. They are so ridiculously sweet. Like we're not just talking about just like lightly sweetened like a cocktail. This is like you made an old fashioned instead of just putting like the quarter of an ounce or one sugar cube, you put like 2 ounces of sugar or like four sugar cubes. This is, or I guess that would be eight. That's the point I'm making. It is so ridiculously sweet. Yes, it's sweet. Oh, Jeremiah Weed with sweet tea flavored vodka and bourbon. Interesting. I'm not familiar with the brand. Brandon said I should get drunk and play VR like Brandon and like you and Pat did. Oh, that sounds great and also dangerous. We run into each other. We definitely like break some windows or some glass. Whiskey Saint, what's up, Darrell? Good to see you, man. Y'all make sure to check out Hello Again Whiskey Friends over on YouTube. They reached out. I'd love to be on y'all's channel sometime. I know timing doesn't work out because you guys go live so early. I'm on the West Coast, so like y'all go live while I'm still working. But if we can make it happen, let's make it happen. Y'all go check out their channel. Such a great time. They always have a great crowd there. So, all right. So my thoughts on brown sugar bourbon. Pass. Fumble. It's not even as a shot. I mean, yeah, as a shot it'd be fine. It's just so sweet. It doesn't have the bite. It doesn't have the high proof. Maybe the 100 proof version is better, but this 60 proof one just does not cut it. I don't like it. I'm also not a very dessert person, so like I don't love desserts. Maybe that's part of the thing. I'm not like loving the I don't know, like this how sweet it is. But you know what? I said that, and then Elijah Craig Barrel Proof had those had those bakery dessert notes, but that's very very different. Listen, comparing Elijah Craig Barrel Proof to brown sugar bourbon is like comparing Super Bowl to what is that thing that the toddlers play where they have the like baseball and the little blowy thing and they hit it? T-ball? Is it T-ball? But like they're like little like toddlers. It's like that kind of comparison. It's like they are both sport. That's the limit of that comparison. All right. Is there a VR Among Us? There is actually. There is. I haven't played it, but there is. Should we do that for our special stream in a couple weeks? Get drunk and play VR. Ooh, I don't know how to stream it though. God, could you imagine if I didn't stream the gameplay and just turned the camera on and we're just all here, just like, whoa, whoa. That would be so funny. Twisted tea ball. I like it. I like it. That's all. No, I'm just thinking of little kids getting. It literally says drink responsibly, not for kids. So, disclaimer there. But I think that's about it for tonight's stream. We went off the rails a little bit, but hey, this is what happens in a pregame, right? Or a tailgate, or whatever you want to call it, before your big game parties. You like to get a little drunk with some friends and hang out, which is what we're about to do at our after party hangout. Like I said, if you guys want to get in on Patreon, there is a 30-day free trial running right now at that $10 tier, which is our Bourbon Megabytes. If you want to join and you want to join us for this after party, click the link, patreon.com/bourbonbites. Literally, the first month completely free. See if you like it. If you like it, well, if you do join, you can join our after party tonight, next week, the following week, and our monthly movie night, which is tomorrow night. So I'm going to give it a shot. Check it out. But if not, I'd appreciate you guys being here week to week. If you're watching the replay, say hello in the chat. I promise. I read every comment. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Have a wonderful, safe Super Bowl weekend. Like I said, I'll be live next week. I'm going to go to Vegas next weekend, but I'll be live next Thursday night. So cheers. Have a great evening. And I'll see some of y'all in just a few minutes. All right. Bye.